Report. All right. So I am honored to be able to welcome Desiree to the Nurses on Fire community. Desiree is goals for me. She is a nurse that is out here living her best life while still actively um, working as an OR nurse. She has reached a point where her money, her investments are working harder for her than she works for her money. So she does not have to work. So she is at the point where she is actually financially independent. She has reached FI and she no longer has to trade time for dollars, but she still works. And so I am so honored to have you, Desiree, here with us in the Nurses on Fire community. Um, I just want to dive into your story of becoming a nurse and how a nurse, just a regular OR nurse like you, can achieve financial independence and what that means. So welcome so much. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. So let's talk about your story of getting into nursing. What inspired you to be a nurse?
My grandmother always wanted to be a nurse, but she married very, very young.
Mhm.
And she's in my basement right now. She moved in with me last year. And she had a handicapped foot.
Oh, one
So she
second.
was
Your mic.
oh,
Yeah.
so she never was able uh, to work as a nurse. And so I was going to be her little nurse, she always said when I was little. And we volunteered with the Kudiet group. We'd go to nursing homes and help out mostly veterans and do little parties and things. So I was in nursing homes around people as a very, very young age. And I was always going to be a nurse. That's just how it was. I was going to be a nurse. I never thought about anything else. I never thought about doing anything else. And that's just what I was going to do. Yeah. So I didn't get to for a long, long time. I went to school right after high school and I was doing prerequisites and got pregnant with my oldest. And so married young also myself. And then the babies kept coming and it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. I registered several times, moved to California, got a governor's scholarship. My school was
Wow.
paid for. My daycare was paid for. And 3 days before I was to start that program, I was told by my husband we had to move. So, um, didn't happen for me. And I gave him the boot years later, went to nursing school and went to college and was here. I always worked in all that time, though. I was working for a rescue mission, taking care of mentally ill women, homeless families. I worked for a mental health facility where I took care of mentally ill adults and then mentally ill adults with medical problems as well. And so I was a registered counselor. I did that. I didn't go to school for that or anything, except for the CNA stuff that I did. But uh, I fell into it, I guess, through a volunteer job. I was volunteering. They asked me within 2 hours of me there volunteering if I would work for them. And I'm like, I already said I'd do it for free, but they're like, we got to pay you so you can pass drugs. I'm like, all right,
Yes.
then. So finally got to go to school, but I had to go to nursing school kind of the hard way. I always had been poor and I always uh, avoided credit because I knew credit was the ruin of a person. And so I never had any debt or credit cards of any kind. And so I didn't want to borrow any money. And thankfully, my marriage left me also destitute. So I had that opportunity for hardship of being a single mom, and that gave me a Pell Grant. So I did not pay for my education except for 1 year. And so I had student loan about, I think it was 6,500 about for that year. And that was it.
Wow.
That
I
was the
love
debt
the
I
way
graduated with.
I love the way you spin that unfortunate event into something that made such an incredible career impossible for you. And so when people can harp on the negativities in their lives, you turn them into
No, they're all
positive.
opportunities. They're
Exactly.
every time you're kicked down, that just makes you stronger, and you have to look at it that way, like, oh, what a wonderful blessing this is. My daughter had cancer a year and a half ago,
Oh my God.
and she's an amazingly strong woman. That's my oldest, and that was like, but it was the best thing for her. And fortunately, she was also broke, completely broke, and in nursing school. And when she got cancer, because um, if she had had a, if she had already graduated and had a job and had co-payments and medical bills and things like that, it would have crushed her. But
Yeah.
nope, she was poor,
It
you
happened. It
know?
happened when it was supposed to happen. Even though,
Exactly.
like we don't like to look at things, say things like that. But yeah, like everything that happens in your life, good or bad, is an opportunity. And it's really what your response to that is that matters. And then I want to just touch briefly on the fact that you knew that debt would be the ruin of you. Who taught you that?
I grew up on a farm and we didn't have any money and everybody worked, but it just, not nothing that anybody went to school for, jobs,
Right.
jobs. We worked jobs and we grew the food we ate. We had animals and things. But if you get debt, they're going to take your farm from you. Then you're going to be homeless. And
Hmm.
so I never wanted a credit card. In fact, I just got our first credit card. We were almost financially independent when I got my very first credit card. And we do
Wow.
it. And it was just that security of knowing that, well, I can pay it off every month because we use it for the rebates. But
Yeah.
we had enough underneath us that I knew that wasn't going to be the ruin of us, you
That's
know.
so admirable because that's just not common today. But I understand that. I understand that, and I respect that, and I'm sure that that's something that you instill in your kids because they've seen you go through so many levels of just you've been from you started from the bottom, now you're here, like they've seen you
Right.
on the come up, and so that builds so much resiliency in children. And so I love that. I love that you learned that, and that that's something that they can see. But so you started as a nurse in your
Yeah.
30s,
Yes.
working in were you always in the OR?
Yes, I thought I was going to be geriatric or psychiatric. That's what I went in thinking. And it I did a 1-day rotation in the operating room, and I had no idea that was even a thing.
Right.
You know how you do those rotations in
Yes.
school, and you go into nursing school thinking you're going to be one kind of nurse, but a different kind of nurse walks out.
Yes.
And I told my clinical instructor, how do I get here? How can I be this person? And so she had been a former OR nurse, and
Ah,
so she encouraged me and helped me to get my preceptorship. And then that person's the charge nurse at that facility called the facility I work at now and said, "You got to hire her." And so they did. They gave me a residency and I went through their course and um, really enjoy it.
that's
Yeah.
it's all about those connections. I love it. So, how did you, as just a regular old OR nurse, find out about this world of financial independence?
Well, I was looking, I've always been very frugal, but I wanted my beans and rice to taste better. I knew that out in the world, there's beans and rice in different cultures all over the world. And
Some
I
very
was
flavorful ones.
Right. Yes. And so I was looking for something a little different. I was searching for beans and rice, and it led me to the Mr. Money Mustache webpage because somebody on one of the forums or something or comments had said something about eating beans and rice. And for some reason, it flagged it enough that I ended up there. And so I started reading from the beginning post, the first post for MrMoneyMustache.com. And it was probably about a day or two into it. I did go ahead and make those beans and rice that night, and they were delicious. Uh, but I kept reading, and I started doing things. And at that point, I still had about $5,000 of my school loan because I'd just been making the minimum. We didn't have any other debt other than our mortgage payment, and I started doing things, hanging my laundry up to dry, turning the thermostat down, And then he kept going on and on about riding a bike to work. So I'm like, okay, I finally bit the bullet. I factored in exactly how much is it going to cost me in money saved in car to ride my bike and make the bike pay for itself and then start making money. And my break even point was 6 months. So I got myself a bike and I started riding it to work. And that went really well. I lost weight. I felt better. I hurt for a lot of weeks, but then I started feeling better. And then uh, I broke even and all of that. I gave my car away because I was just riding my bike to work, and my husband had his car. So if I needed a car, grocery shopping and stuff. Um, and that went well. And I just kept saving. I just kept not spending money. And then pretty soon I saw it piling up in my bank account because I wasn't spending it. And I didn't know anything about investing then. I set my retirement fund. I think I remember about having a heart attack when I set it to 25%. I thought, oh, we're going to die. We're going to starve. This isn't going to be enough money. But it was fine. Didn't even
It was
notice
fine, right?
it. Didn't
Yep.
even notice it.
Yep.
So the money built up in my savings or my checking account. And I just wrote a thank you note on a thank you card to the loan people and sent the balance to them. And we were done. We were done with that transaction. That
So
was
how
great.
far after finding Mr. Money Mustache were you able to pay off the remainder of your loans?
Within 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
within 3
So,
months.
so you listen, you found them and then you went hard. Like you weren't playing around. You
Well, I
weren't just
quit
like
spending money. A few years before my husband and I got married again to a wonderful man,
mm-hmm.
um, uh, my husband, I told him about it. He thought it was some wacky scheme I was into, and he laughed. And I mean, he doesn't do the laundry anyway, so he didn't care whether I hung the clothes or not. But a few years before, we'd been talking when we did our taxes, and we were both making a good amount of money. Here I was. That was probably about year 3, 4 out of nursing school, maybe more, and we're both making good money. But at the end of the year, there was nothing left.
Mm-hmm.
We
We
were
all know that feeling. We
there was,
all
and
know
it
that
wasn't
feeling.
like we were out partying or
No.
living life. It was just we determined we're spending this money on the kids. That's what we're doing, and it's nothing they need anyway. So we decided to prioritize us as grown-ups because by then they're teenagers. They're
Right.
old,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
nearly grown,
Mm-hmm.
except for the littlest. And so we started taking trips, and it was great. We were having a good time. We're still spending all our money, but now it's a little more on us instead of just all their activities and stuff. And so we had already gotten that kind of frame of mind, but after reading about it, kind of just changed my mind out. What is money? What is it used for? And
Mm-hmm.
it became a tool and not just a thing you have.
Yep.
And once that light switch flipped, I just didn't want to spend money on anything unless I had to.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
my thermostat's at 63 right now because that's our daytime temperature. At night, it's 55. I don't
Woo!
fool around. And so the money started piling up, just started piling up. And then I had to learn how to invest.
Mm-hmm.
And so I maxed out. Then I set my retirement account at 75% to front load at work. And he front loads also.
So
And there was,
let's stop there because
okay,
we're just nurses, right?
we're
And you
nurses.
and
So
you
I'm an
know,
OR nurse.
yes. And so like when it comes to putting money into retirement, it's like one of those things. Either we kind of do what our coworkers are doing, or we kind of just do the
Right,
minimum, or some people are
right,
so nervous about investing,
right.
about putting in money in the stock market, they don't do anything. How
No.
did you, at that point, learn about investing?
Well, I read, I think was it the early retirement extreme guy? I forget his name. I think
Yeah,
I think he has a thing on,
Big Earn, yeah.
he
Oh,
has a
no,
thing
early
on
retirement stream, like he has a blog, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
uh-huh,
he sold it and then he took it back. I don't know. He lived in a van. He lived in an RV. I remember
uh-huh,
that.
yeah,
But he had a little kind of what I would tell my daughter. thing on
Mm.
there about investing. And
Mhm.
also Mr. Money Mustache talks about index funds.
Mhm.
So, but the main thing that I learned is how do you even pick a fund, you know?
Mhm.
Like I had no idea. I thought it was some sort of magic formula. You have to have a finance degree or something to understand it.
Yeah, they
But
make it seem like
once I
it's
figured
really
out
complicated.
low
Yeah.
fee, high yield, done. That's it. It's
That's
all you
it.
got to pay attention to there.
Yeah.
And so I switched, set my own account on my retirement fund at work, and then started investing in an after tax fund. But that I changed my thinking. It's not like I'm giving money away and it's not my money anymore. I'm kind of saving it from the man because the government can take it in taxes, or I could put it in there. I'm going to put it in
Exactly.
here.
I tell people that all the time. I say, listen, you're going to pay. You have two
You're going
choices.
to pay.
You're going to
Hmm.
pay the government or you're going to pay
Yep.
yourself. And
Right.
100% of the time, I'm going to choose myself. So what are you going to do?
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I love
Yeah.
it. And then let's go back to talking about, you talked about like you front load all your retirement accounts.
Yeah.
So what does that do for you?
Well, for me, I front load because for the past 3 years, I told them at work, I am one vacation request denial away from going per diem. Y'all know that, because I retired in my mind about 4 or 5 years ago, where I was coming to work because I wanted to come to work. And also, I've got that whole RN and Pulse thing going on. So I know I can get a job anywhere,
Anywhere.
but
Hmm.
I haven't. I've stayed true to my company that I've got hired from right out of nursing school. So um, I enjoy them. But it finally happened. It finally happened in June. I got notified that I would not get the day before Thanksgiving off.
Mm,
Well, they put me on an LC list, but I'm not going to take a chance. That's pie day in my house. We make pies.
that's right,
So,
girl.
right?
That priorities, that's what's important to
That's the
you.
thing. And
Yes.
I was already financially independent at that point.
Right.
So it was
Right.
just kind of the clock was ticking for them. And so I put in my notice and I went per diem the week before Thanksgiving.
I
And
love it.
I didn't work this week. I'm not working next week. But I think next week after that I'm working a couple of half days.
Princess shifts that we like to call those princess shifts.
Princess shift. Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's what we call it.
how long after discovering Mr. Money Mustache in the world of FI did it take you to become financially independent? Like how many years was that?
I had a big helping hand. My husband also, again, are both adverse to debts and things like that. So that
Hmm.
was good. Neither of us came in with, we had two paid off cars. The only thing that we had debt on is the house. And we were about $100,000 underwater at the time that I found Mr. Money Mustache, um, because of the recession, you know. But then now, let's see. I was fully FI this last summer.
Wow,
And I
congratulations.
knew that we could have coasted there for the
Hmm.
last few years. Once we saw that snowball rolling, we knew that it would keep going, and we
Hmm.
just maybe needed to cover our own expenses and maybe not even save anymore, and it would still
Yep.
happen.
Yeah.
But so that gave me a lot of confidence in easily saying, I take vacations. I take 2 weeks off at Christmas. So go ahead and stop me.
Right. Exactly.
And so this year it was just like, basically, I don't work this December. Sorry.
So
You
how many
know,
years from start to finish was that?
that probably sounded bad on the mic. Um, uh, 6, I
That's what
guess.
I'm talking about.
But we
That's what
were
I'm
we
talking
we
about.
were rocking that, 65 to 80% savings rate.
Yeah. Yes.
Um, and but we never felt deprived at all.
Thank you. Thank you. That was going to be my next question
Never
because
once. I never didn't get to see or do or have something because I didn't have the money, because my priorities changed. I didn't want that thing anymore. you know?
Exactly. Exactly. You chose freedom over
Right.
whatever possession that money could
Exactly.
buy because you know,
Because jacked up trucks are that's going to make you be a wage slave.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you're just going to be a wage slave for what? A pair of shoes? You're going to give away your freedom for that? No
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what is keeping you like being working as a nurse? Like why are you still working? You can totally live off
I've
of your money. Your money
this
is working for you
yeah.
like nothing
Now
else.
I don't
So
need to go to work at all. I don't need to make a single dime. I don't need to ever make a single dime again for the rest of my life. It's all planned out. My husband and I just had our quarterly meeting the other day, and he showed me the, the 4 year, 5 year, 10 year, 20 year, 30 year, 40 year. I said, I don't think I'll be here in 40, but fine. you know, I don't need to make money. I'm a nurse because that's who I am. It's not
mhm.
what I do. It's who I am. And, so I worked hard for that license too. I worked hard for it. And so in the state that I'm in, you have to have a minimum number of hours that you are a practicing nurse in order to keep your license current.
Mhm.
And so, but it can be as easy as my grandma living down in the basement because I look after her now here. So I don't need to even go into like the paid job. But I go there because I'm a nurse and I love what I do. I get to speak my mind, and I've been able to do that for years. I get to hit the big red stop button anytime I feel like something's not safe, and there's no pressure of getting fired, you know. There's no pressure of never working again or something like that. It doesn't matter to me. They, can't take that away.
So I forgot to mention this earlier, but I love that your grandma's still living with you and that she's
Yeah,
still alive. And my grandfather is somebody that's super close to me. And, I'm around the corner from him. And
that's
that's
great.
gold for me, right?
Yeah,
Like I will trade anything for that. So I love that. The other thing is that you mentioned that is super important. And this is something that I've had firsthand experience with is being able to speak your mind and not be
yes,
in fear of losing your income. I've been in a toxic work environment, very unsafe patient care, a lot of
right,
implicit bias, a lot of mortality and morbidity that could have been prevented just because
right,
of the way that the
right.
providers were thinking, and and you've seen it firsthand.
Yeah,
But me being able to not only just walk away from that job, because I had other choices and because I wasn't dependent on that, but also me being able to speak up and not
right,
be in fear that I would
right,
lose my income was
right,
monumental. And that's something that
right.
a lot of people can't do. Can you talk to me about the power that you feel because you're able to do that?
Well, if you're working for a doctor, then you're working for him and he kind of owns you. If you
Hmm.
own a big house and a big truck and you've got credit card debt, you don't have that freedom to save a life by speaking up, you know? And I I it's nice because everybody at work knows that I have that freedom. I own myself, and so they come to me. And I speak up if they can't, but
Right.
it saves lives, and you have to
Yes.
save a life. And then
Yes.
when you feel your pulse and you look online and see that you still have a nursing license, go ahead and speak up and save a life, because
Yes.
what else are we there for? That's
Exactly.
why we're there.
We are patient advocates at the core, but I know
That's
a
it.
lot of nurses that are in fear of losing that income, and so they
Yeah.
won't necessarily speak up. And that's about integrity. But it's also about survival. I mean, like people are
Right.
balancing those things. And
Right.
so if you make the choice to ensure that you're financially free, there's nothing holding you back for being that
Oh,
100% nurse that we are all like in this career to do, because a nurse is like there's no other profession that I found really, maybe teachers that like you're
Right.
a teacher at the core, you're a nurse at the core, and all you want to do is really serve your patients. But there are so many things that can get in the way of that. And a lot of the things are financially motivated. So once you
Right.
take that barrier away,
People are
you're,
afraid. They're afraid of losing their
yes,
house. They're afraid of not being
yes,
able to feed their families.
yes,
But yeah, when you take care of the money part of it, you don't have any fear of any of that, and you
yeah.
can just be free to be the strong advocate that we are all supposed to be.
Yes.
You know.
And that's why this platform exists, to let you guys know that it's possible, because in this world we're inundated with all this negativity, and we're inundated with the fact that we have to be consumers, and because we have these nice incomes and this flexibility in our work that we can just spend money like it's going out of style.
Nope.
But if we're not investing in ourselves, then we're not doing a disservice to our profession, and we're not doing a disservice,
Right.
we're doing a disservice to our profession, we're doing a disservice
Right.
to ourselves. And so we need to know what's possible for us, and know that at any given time you can set yourself up in 10 years or less in most cases
Yes.
to be able to make work optional. But that doesn't mean that you have to walk away from your job. That
No,
means
you don't
that
have
you
to
get,
walk away from being a nurse.
yes,
No.
that means that you get to come to your job fully as yourself, because you are not bogged down
Right.
by any kind of financial commitments that
Right.
you feel obliged to. So, I mean,
Right.
I love your story, and I love that you preach the gospel, and I love that you're there at your job because people are seeing what's possible through you. You're able to be an advocate for your coworkers as
Yeah.
well, because there's like no fear. I think that's great. So tell me, what's next for you and your family?
Well, I've got my grandma downstairs, so I've been enjoying that for almost a year now. And then I have a 5-year-old grandson with my oldest daughter.
Oh,
And so I just told work I can only be available sometimes on Tuesdays and Fridays because the other days I take care of him. So my daughter doesn't have to pay for daycare, and he and I get to hang out, at least 3 days a week. And then usually he throws a sleepover in there too. And so I really enjoy that. I like doing the simple things now, things that used to be chores, but I like getting the dishes done and the kitchen's
yes.
clean. Before it was just something I had to do, but now I'll knock it out of the way early because I'm just going to sit around drinking tea and maybe watch some documentaries or read a book or take my grandson to the park or whatever it is that we're up to that day. I like spending hours drinking coffee in the morning, just like it takes me now at least like 2 hours of drinking coffee before I'm ready to just do anything else, you know?
You're fully living in what brings you
I
pleasure. I
think I'm
love
still in
it.
that decompression phase though, because, it's only been a few months now where I quit,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
still go in every couple times a month. So uh I think I'm still decompressing. I think I will probably spend a lot more time traveling and I like to hike and go up in the mountains by myself. So go up to my little shack in the woods and sharpen some axes.
I love it. So now that you have your money just working for you hardcore, um how does that look like as far as what you like your kid, like what you do or teach your kids, or
Well,
how does
our
that work for
youngest
generational
daughters,
planning? Yeah.
well, there's gonna be a lot of money there. And so once we got to that point where we knew that the snowball was just gonna get bigger, we did all our estate planning so that we've taken care of all of that. So the kids, and we were real open and transparent. All of our children are adults now. The youngest is 19. So, we show it all to them, and I
Hmm.
tell them this is where important paperwork is. This is where the money is. So if something happens to me and dad, you guys need to, this is where you look for it, so that they have that. I haven't, beyond that, they're all, I won't say how capable they aren't, but most of my children are very capable. And, and, and so the youngest is very interested in early retirement and just early financial independence more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so she has already saved money, purchased her own car with cash, and is now saving up and is finishing up her program now that she's working on for school. And then she's already got recruiters talking to her. Um, so she'll do fine. And my oldest will do great.
Your
They'll
oldest, what followed your footsteps and is a nurse as
Yeah,
well.
she was
She's
supposed to be
going
a
to be.
doctor, but
She
she
got
got
smart, right?
she got a biology degree and had my grandson, and then decided maybe the lifestyle of a nurse is she'd like to have more children and be a mom. So
Yeah.
you know, our lifestyle is a little easier to do that than a physician's.
Yeah.
We get more balance.
Definitely, definitely. And Desiree, I love your story because it is truly like the rags to riches. Like you've been through so much.
Yeah.
I mean, you went through a horrible divorce, and I've been there too. You've had to start from nothing and claw your way out. And you've been able to become financially independent in less than 10 years.
Yeah.
And I know it was the support of your awesome husband and
Yeah.
all that stuff that you have now. But at the end of the day, you did it despite of, in spite of
And it
all
was
the things.
fun.
Yeah. And you did not live in deprivation. And people are thinking,
Never.
well, I don't,
Never.
but I mean, I don't see myself really riding a bike to work, or I don't really want to drive, hang my clothes.
Right.
But those weren't things that you that represented any kind of lack. Those were things that you actually
I
enjoyed
got physical
doing.
fitness and my sweater
Yes.
smell like sunshine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. And so I think a lot of people think it's just like like, how do you live like that? How do you live like that? And to them I say, how do you not?
Right.
How do you not
Because
choose for
freedom sure
yourself?
feels a lot better than anything
Oh,
else.
on so many levels, on so many levels. And if there was just one thing that you wanted a nurse to take away from this podcast today, what would it be?
I think just to think about money as a tool, because that's what it is.
Mhm.
It's not a thing. It's a tool, and it's your time. It's your time. Money is time. And max out your retirement fund. Why give the government your money? Start there, and from there, read some more. Learn some more, whatever interests you, and keep growing and stepping forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Listen to more podcasts like this.
Yes.
All those kind of things, to start surrounding yourself with people who are doing the things that you
Right.
aspire to.
Right.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So Desiree,
We may seem weird now, but I feel like
nope.
this movement is growing.
This is
You know.
norm. This is my normal. This is my
Right.
normal. So make a new normal, and make
Yeah.
this your new normal. So Desiree, I loved talking to you. You are like true goals for me. You have to know how much I really look up to you. I'm right behind you,
So
girl.
weird.
I know, right? I'm right behind you. I'll be there shortly. But
Yes.
just
Come on.
even,
The
yes,
water's fine.
jump in. I am
Yes.
going to jump in. I mean, I'm there. I'm
It
there.
takes bravery though at
It
the end,
does.
and I saw that with myself, especially in the last year. It's so hard to just like push back away from the table and say I'm full. I've had enough. And it's what are the next steps? Well, it doesn't really matter
Yeah.
what the
No.
next steps are,
No.
once you get here, you just don't have to think about or worry
Right.
about things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some resources that you feel like people can utilize in order to learn? I know you're a true mustachian through and through,
True
and
mustachian. Go to mrmoneymustache.com. Start at the very first article and read your way up. The new stuff isn't going to make any sense unless you start at the beginning and start trying things.
yeah,
Start things that are comfortable at first, and then keep moving into areas that are less comfortable. They'll become more comfortable.
yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule and taking time maybe away from your grandson to speak to me. But it has been a pure pleasure. Like, this has been so awesome. Like, oh, you just lightened up my life. Like, seriously, I love it. I love it. So yeah, so anybody interested in learning more about the things that Desiree did, everything is in the are in blogs, free content that you can consume, Reddit
Yep.
feeds, many, Mr. Money Mustache
Yep.
forums, all these places. And to connect with like-minded people, you're free to join the Nurses on Fire Facebook group. Um, there's all kind of Facebook groups that Musty Money Mustache has, Facebook groups and forums that you can
Yep.
join, like all those kind of places, and start surrounding yourself with people that are doing things just like this, so you know what's possible for you. Again, thank you so much, Desiree, for joining me. I
Thanks.
really
It was
appreciated
fun.
talking to you. I had so much fun, and I'm wishing you all the best in your life living financially free. Thank you.
I look forward to meeting you there.
Oh, yes.